What up, YouTube? Here with another episode of Talk Wrestling. I think this is episode number 7. Anyway, that doesn't matter. What I'm going to be discussing on this episode of Talk Wrestling is I'm going to be reviewing Wrestlemania 39 as well as Backlash, as well as talking about the 2023 WWE Draft, and as well as WWE adding a new World Heavyweight title. Now, I haven't made a wrestling video in quite a while now. I meant to upload the review of WrestleMania 39 after WrestleMania 39 happened. However, I couldn't upload it for whatever reason. It doesn't matter though, because I'm about to give it a review right now, and this is how the review system works when I do wrestling review videos for wrestling events. I will give every match that happened on the card a rating out of a 5, and at the end of the review of that event, I will give the whole event a rating out of a 10. Anyways, WrestleMania is a 2-day event. Day 1 of WrestleMania, the opening contest to that card was for the United States title. Austin Theory defending his U.S. title versus John Cena. Now, this was a very look forward to match amongst the wrestling fans. Many people were saying that, Austin Theory can be the next franchise player because he got picked by Vince McMahon, much like how John Cena did. When John Cena was on his way up, he started with the U.S. title and then went on to become a franchise player. 16-time world champion is John Cena, arguably the most decorated wrestler in WWE history. And Austin Theory has already made history. He's the youngest ever United States champion, as well as the youngest ever Mr. Money in the Bank. However, his Money in the Bank run was a fail. Anyways, that's besides the point, because he's repackaged himself very well and he's been on the right road to redemption. And this was a good opening contest to get the fans that was in the crowd, as well as fans that was watching at home, to get emotionally invested and tap into the show. I'll give this opening contest a match rating of a 3 out of a 5. Austin Theory retained the United States title, and he won in a typical heel fashion. When John Cena went to hit the AA, Austin Theory's foot knocked down the referee, and then John Cena locked in the STF on Austin Theory. Austin Theory was tapping out. John Cena thought he had won. However, as I mentioned earlier, the referee was out of the picture, and John Cena went to go grab the referee's attention. And while the referee was getting back up and John Cena was going to have his attention back on Austin Theory hit him with the low blow and then hit him with the A-Town down to secure the win and retain the U.S. title. And then the second match to WrestleMania 39 Day 1 was a 8-man tag team match. It was a team of Ricochet, Braun Strowman, and the Street Profits versus Alpha Academy. It wasn't an 8-man tag team match. It was a 4-way tag team match. Pardon me. I had to correct that right quick. It was the Street Profits versus Ricochet and Braun Strowman versus Alpha Academy versus Viking Raiders. And this was a good showcase match, and it got to feature workhorses of the WWE who put in work all year around, and they get to showcase a talent at the biggest wrestling show of the year, and they definitely did their thing. And the Street Profits ended up winning this match. And from what I remember, there was some good highlight reel spots in this match, and I'll give this match a rating of a 3 out of a 5. Then the next match on the card, we saw Seth Rollins versus Logan Paul. Now, this was a fun match as well. It had comedy elements to it, and Logan Paul, he can go as well. He could compete as a wrestler, and he's displayed that on many occasions in his debut match at last year's WrestleMania, as well as at Crown Jewel when he challenged for the undisputed WWE Universal title, and at the Royal Rumble as well. And his performance didn't disappoint at this year's WrestleMania either. Of course, he got in there with arguably the best wrestler when it comes to in-ring ability, that being Seth Rollins, and it's hard to have a bad match versus a wrestler that wrestles at a level that Seth Rollins wrestles at. And this match, it had some highlight reel spots as well. KSI, he was involved in this match for the comedic purposes. He was the mascot, the prime mascot for Logan Paul in his corner. And when Logan Paul went for that viral moment of him doing a splash from the top rope to the announce table, Seth Rollins pulled KSI in the way and had Logan Paul splash on the KSI. And that was the comedic element to this match. And the highlight reel to this match was when Logan Paul went to hit the coast to coast, and Seth Rollins interrupted that with a super kick, and then Seth Rollins would hit the curb stomp to secure the win. And I get this match a rating of a 3.5 out of a 5. And then the next match on the card was a 6-women's tag team match, a team of Damage Control taking on the team of Becky Lynch, Lita, and Trish Stratus. Now this was a good back and forth action-packed match, and the team of Becky Lynch, Lita, and Trish Stratus ended up winning this match. And they all got to display their talent and do their thing in this match, and I'll give this match a rating of a 3 out of a 5. Then next was the father versus son match, Rey Mysterio versus Dominic Mysterio. Now this was one of the best matches on the card for day one of WrestleMania 39. Dominic Mysterio, he's been on the best run of his career, and he's got a lot of potential with him being a fresh young talent, and he's got plenty of years ahead of him to blossom, and he's definitely at the blossom stages right now. The heat, the momentum that he's got going in his favor is just great. And Rey Mysterio, him being involved in this storyline has been building since fall of last year, and that's why this match was made for WrestleMania, because of how much time it took to build this storyline and have this rivalry unfold with Rey Mysterio and Dominic Mysterio, and the storyline development, the character development, and all the elements that's involved when it comes to the theatric part of pro wrestling was definitely very well placed for this rivalry with Rey Mysterio and Dominic Mysterio. And the match didn't disappoint either. It had good showcases of theatrics as well as athleticism, and as well as the chemistry being there. Obviously, it's the Mysterios. Dominic Mysterio came up under Rey Mysterio's tutelage, so of course they know how to work with each other, and they show that in this match at WrestleMania 39. Rey Mysterio ended up getting the win. I didn't agree with that booking. I thought Dominic Mysterio, with the way the WWE has been building him up, I thought him getting the win would be more of a bigger splash, more of a bigger impact, and it would have more dividends for the future. However, they gave the babyface Rey Mysterio the win, and it didn't hurt Dominic Mysterio at all. It didn't hurt his momentum at all. If y'all been tapping into WWE's programming as of late, Dominic Mysterio still has the heat. If not, I say it's gotten better when it comes to his interaction with the crowd amongst the WWE fans after WrestleMania. And they're continuing on to push Dominic Mysterio. So this didn't hurt Dominic Mysterio's run at all. And this match, Dominic Mysterio showed his heel character as well. He put that to work. Him, showing his displeasement for his family, his sister and his mother, who was ringside in attendance for this fight. They were involving factors as well. Dominic Mysterio showing signs of disrespect towards them, and Rey Mysterio, of course, that's the emotional aspect, the storytelling aspect of pro wrestling. That's why this match I'll give a rating of a 4 out of a 5, because it had the elements that pro wrestling is all about being displayed in this match with Rey Mysterio and Dominic Mysterio. And as I said, Rey Mysterio got a win in this match, and this was a good match, as I gave y'all the reasons to why I gave it the ratings that I gave it. Anyways, the next match on the card to WrestleMania 39 Day 1 was for the SmackDown Women's title. Charlotte Flair defending her SmackDown Women's title versus the 2023 Royal Rumble winner. I think Rhea Ripley has the record for competing in the Women's Royal Rumble match for the longest time, because she entered at number 1 this year and ended up winning the Royal Rumble. And I say, Rhea Ripley's got the biggest momentum going amongst all of the women that's a part of the women's roster in the WWE. And she's been having that momentum and that heat behind her with the WWE fans for a long time now. And Rhea Ripley, she ended up winning this match as well, and rightfully so, I say, because, as I said, she's got the biggest momentum, the hottest streak out of all the women in the women's roster in WWE right now, arguably the whole pro wrestling when it comes to women's wrestling. And she gets the biggest reactions, I say, out of all the women in pro wrestling right now. And for her to get a WrestleMania moment at this year's WrestleMania was a good look. And this match was arguably the best match on the card of WrestleMania 39 Day 1. Rhea Ripley and Charlotte Flair, two great athletic female wrestlers, and they displayed that in this match at this year's WrestleMania when they wrestled for the SmackDown Women's title. And Rhea Ripley ended up getting the win after she hit the pump handle slam from the top rope to secure the win to become the new SmackDown Women's Champion. And I give this match a rating of a 4 out of a 5. And then we saw Pat McAfee make his return at this year's WrestleMania when he was a surprise opponent versus this year's WrestleMania's host, or the co-host to this year's WrestleMania, that being The Miz. It was an impromptu match, and it had the San Francisco 49ers tight end being involved in this match, helping Pat McAfee secure the win versus The Miz. And that's that NFL connection right there, with Pat McAfee being a former NFL player, and Pat McAfee ended up getting the win over The Miz. This was like a adding factor to the entertainment aspect of the WWE and WrestleMania. And the main event to day 1 of WrestleMania 39 was for the undisputed WWE Tag Team titles. The Usos versus the team of Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens. Now this, much like the rivalry with Rey Mysterio and Dominic Mysterio, was long awaited, had much time invested into it, a lot of emotions and a lot of theatrics, and the element of storytelling that was involved and invested into this year's WrestleMania 39 Day 1's main event. Sami Zayn, who was a honorary honorary member of the Bloodline ever since the summer of last year, he been trying to find favor in the sight of the Bloodline after WrestleMania 38, and Sami Zayn has been a part of the Bloodline storyline for almost a year, from summer 2022 all the way till WrestleMania 39. And that goes to show y'all that that's how much time was invested into this storyline unfolding for the main event of WrestleMania 39, Day 1's match with the Usos defending their undisputed tag titles versus Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens, longtime best friends who came up together in the independent circuit from the PWG, ROH days, and NXT as well. And they were tag team on the main rosters as well. And Kevin Owens, y'all look at his rivalry with Roman Reigns at the Royal Rumble. That's when there was that whole question of, is Sami Zayn gonna join forces with Kevin Owens and not take this manipulating abuse from Roman Reigns and the bloodlines? And it all unfolded at the Royal Rumble. Y'all know the build up to the story. That was like one of the best moments in pro wrestling in 2023, and we only almost halfway there through 2023, and it's still considered one of the best moments in all of pro wrestling thus far for the year 2023. And then Sami Zayn had that match versus Roman Reigns for the undisputed WWE Universal World title, and it was in Montreal, where Sami Zayn is from. And Sami Zayn has been involved with the storyline, this rivalry / alliance with the bloodline for quite a while, as well as Kevin Owens, and it all came to conclusion at WrestleMania 39 in its main event for WrestleMania 39 Day 1. And also, y'all remember Jey Uso, who was being questioned when it came to his loyalty, because remember when Sami Zayn first was a honorary member of the bloodline, Jey Uso wasn't having it. He didn't like the fact that Sami Zayn was being a tag along in the bloodline. And then Sami Zayn and Jey Uso eventually built a strong relationship together. And then when Sami Zayn made his decision at the Royal Rumble after Roman Reigns got the win over Kevin Owens to not take abuse and manipulation from Roman Reigns, and he struck Roman Reigns in the back with that chair, then Jey Uso, he didn't partake in the beatdown of Sami Zayn. And then all the way till a few weeks before WrestleMania 39, Jey Uso was a no-show, and he would only show up to defend the undisputed tag team titles with Jimmy, and he didn't make his decision until a few weeks before WrestleMania 39, when he decided to attack Sami Zayn. And the main event to Day 1 of WrestleMania 39 was, in my opinion, the best match on the card. I'll give this match a rating of a 4 out of a 5. I was going to say 4.5 out of a 5. That might be I say a little overrated. However, as I said, from my perspective, it was the best match that happened on the card of Day 1 of WrestleMania 39. Good back and forth action, classic tag team wrestling. You have 4 great in-ring talent like the Usos and Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens. Calls for a good match, and Sami Zayn was the first wrestler to kick out of the 1D. And it has storytelling elements in this match as well. Sami Zayn got the pin for the team of Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens to secure the win to become the new undisputed WWE Tag Team Champions after he hit 3 Haluma kicks on Jey Uso to pick up the win. And now let's move on to Day 2 of WrestleMania 39. The opening match to Day 2 of WrestleMania 39, we saw Brock Lesnar take on Omos. Now, this was a showcase of a match because Omos, being the stature that he is, and Brock Lesnar having the reputation that he has, it calls for a attractive match, and that's what we saw at WrestleMania 39. I would have liked to see the feud with Brock Lesnar and Bobby Lashley continue because it didn't make sense how their rivalry ended at the Elimination Chamber. It looked like they were building the feud with Bobby Lashley and Brock Lesnar from last year's Royal Rumble to Crown Jewel to this year's Royal Rumble, and the finish that we saw at the Elimination Chamber with the match with Bobby Lashley and Brock Lesnar, when it ended in a disqualification and Brock Lesnar attacking Bobby Lashley after the match, much like how Bobby Lashley attacked Brock Lesnar after the match at Crown Jewel, and it ended with a missing elements to that storyline. It didn't have a ending to it, is what I'm saying. That's why it didn't make sense. And Bobby Lashley, he only got featured at this year's WrestleMania when he was announced as this year's Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal winner and got to show off his trophy. And for somebody like Bobby Lashley, who put in work all year around, he deserves a slot at the biggest show of the year in all of pro wrestling. He was supposed to have a rivalry with Bray Wyatt. I don't know what's going on with Bray Wyatt. That's why Bobby Lashley didn't have a match for this year's WrestleMania. Anyways, it would have called for more of a better match to see a match with Bobby Lashley and Brock Lesnar. However, we saw Omos and Brock Lesnar. It was, as I said, a good attraction showcase match, and Brock Lesnar ended up getting the win. It was cool to see Brock Lesnar take Omos to Suplex City, and Brock Lesnar ended up getting the win. It was a good way to open up the show, to get the fans to tap into the show, and to get the momentum started. And Brock Lesnar got the win, as I said. I'll give this match a rating of a 2.5 out of a 5. And then the next match was a 4-way tag team match featuring the team of Ronda Rousey and Shayna Baszler versus the team of Shotzi and Natalya, and versus Raquel Rodriguez and Liv Morgan versus Sonya Deville and Chelsea Green. This was a good back and forth match. This was like the 4-way tag team match that we saw at the day one of WrestleMania 39 amongst the men, but with the woman this time, who put in work all year around in the WWE, who gets to display their talent at the biggest show of the year at WrestleMania. And the team of Ronda Rousey and Shayna Baszler ended up getting the win, and I'll give this match a rating of a 2.5 out of a 5. Then the third match on the card to day 2 of WrestleMania 39, Gunther defended his Intercontinental title versus Drew McIntyre and Sheamus. And as expected, this match was a hard-hitting, competitive, back-and-forth match, and it didn't disappoint. Gunther ended up getting the win, securing and retaining his Intercontinental title to continue on his impressive reign as the Intercontinental Champion, and this was a good look on his part. And he got the win after he powerbombed, I forget who it was, he powerbombed either Sheamus or Drew McIntyre onto one another to secure the win. And I give this match a rating of a 3.5 out of a 5. In the next match on the card, we saw Bianca Belair defend the Raw Women's title versus Asuka, and Bianca Belair continues her undefeated streak at WrestleMania after she secured a win and retained her Raw Women's title. A lot of the fans wasn't pleased with this result. Many people were expecting Asuka to become the new Raw Women's Champion and have a WrestleMania moment. Asuka has been a household name that's been holding it down for the women's roster in the WWE for quite a while now. I say one of the best workers when it comes to all of women's pro wrestling, and she has been that for quite a while now. And unlike Bianca Belair, who's unbeaten at WrestleMania, Asuka is winless at WrestleMania. and the momentum that Asuka has been building to the road to this year's WrestleMania, with her winning the Elimination Chamber and adding a character development, playing this whole new crazy, psychotic kind of character, and that element that she showed when it came to her character work and her adding that charisma factor to this feud for the Raw Women's title versus Bianca Belair for this year's WrestleMania. It was like, what was the point of doing all that if they was going to have her lose? And she didn't even get an immediate rematch. Not to be disappointing or to be a Debbie Downer, to call it in figurative terms, I say Asuka, she's getting another rematch at the Raw Women's title. It looks like, if y'all seen the latest episode of SmackDown, and I know it doesn't make sense. I'm gonna talk about it when I talk about this year's WWE draft, how that was on SmackDown. Now Bianca Belair is a part of SmackDown and she's still the Raw Women's Champion, right? Doesn't make any sense. Anyways, the match was good because, of course, Bianca Belair and Asuka being I say, arguably one of the best workers in all of women's pro wrestling, they're gonna put on a good match, and that's what we saw. And this match, I'll give a rating of a 3.5 out of a 5. Bianca Belair got the win after she hit her finishing move to secure the win, and she continues her impressive lengthy reign as the Raw Women's Champion. Then we saw Shane McMahon make a surprise appearance to be a surprise opponent versus the co-host of this year's WrestleMania, The Miz, at day 2 of WrestleMania 39 for an impromptu match. The Miz was talking to his co-host Snoop Dogg about how that impromptu match versus Pat McAfee at day 1 of WrestleMania 39 was a surprise and wasn't fair, and he wasn't ready, and now he's ready to, display his abilities, his legitimateness as a Grand Slam champion, a decorated wrestler with a impressive resume. And they brought out Shane McMahon as a surprise opponent. Unfortunately, Shane McMahon ended up blowing out his quad during the middle of the match, and then Snoop Dogg had to make a improvise there and become a last minute replacement opponent. Apparently this wasn't planned, this wasn't scripted. Snoop Dogg took charge himself and added himself and involved himself into that match to continue on the show, and he would snuff the Miz out of nowhere on behalf of Shane and get the win over the Miz. That was a comedic element, very entertaining element to WrestleMania 39. Anyways, I'm not going to give that match a rating, just like how I ain't give the match with Pat McAfee and The Miz, that it was a filler match. That's why I wouldn't say that was a match that was worth giving a rating to, with all due respect. Anyways, the next match on the card, we saw a Hell in a Cell match with Edge and Finn Balor. Much like the storyline with the Bloodline and Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens and Rey Mysterio and Dominic Mysterio, same thing here with this rivalry. The Judgment Day, as y'all know, was formed by Edge at last year's WrestleMania. Edge, who founded that group, got kicked out of the group that he started, and Finn Balor, who was fighting the Judgment Day at first, joins the Judgment Day to kick out Edge, who founded the group, and then that started the rivalry. So this is a more awaited, more time invested storyline than the Dominic Mysterio, Rey Mysterio feud, and even the Bloodline versus Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens feud. And to have a gimmick match like Hell in a Cell, we saw a gimmick match at Extreme Rules, a I Quit match, but it had other parties involved in it as well. This match was one-on-one with Edge and Finn Balor only in a Hell in a Cell. The I Quit match at Extreme Rules had the Judgment Day and as well as Beth Phoenix involved in that match as well. And this match, I would say wasn't the best Hell in a Cell match. Edge, with him having the list of injuries that he suffered throughout his career, and with him being at his age, a wrestler who previously retired, he's got to be more cautious and safe with the style that he wrestles. And Finn Balor, him as well, he's injury prone as well, and he suffered prior serious injuries as well. However, he can still go at it and pull off high stunts when it comes to matches in the ring, and he couldn't really display those highlight reel spots in this match because of those factors. And however, there was a dangerous element in this match because Finn Balor did suffer a laceration. He had to get 14 stitches because I think he got hit with the ladder, and then that opened up a wound on top of his head, and that called for a little delay in this match. However, the match was still a good match, and Edge got the win after Finn Balor. I think he was on either top of the ladder. Correct me if I'm wrong. He was either on the top rope. I think it was on the top of the ladder, though. And he went for a coup de grace while Edge was positioned on the table. And Edge moved out the way. And then Finn Balor stomped through the table and found no target. And then Edge hit the spear and then hit the concerto to secure the win. And I give this match a 3.5 out of a 5. And then the next match on day 2 of WrestleMania 39 was the main event to day 2 of WrestleMania 39. Roman Reigns defending his undisputed WWE Universal title versus the 2023 Royal Rumble winner Cody Rhodes, who made his return to WWE at last year's WrestleMania, and then he unfortunately got injured at a early stage of his comeback to the WWE, and he was out for like almost half of the year, and then he came back at this year's Royal Rumble, and his whole purpose of coming back was to become world champion. And Dusty Rhodes, his father, who wasn't a world champion in the WWE at least, and he wants to be the first Rhodes to be able to win a world title in the WWE, because before he left the WWE, he didn't win a world title, and now he's made it a goal, and that's like his whole gimmick of his return to the WWE is to become world champion, and he got a chance at that after he won the 2023 Royal Rumble and got the challenge for the undisputed WWE Universal title at the grandest stage of them all in all the pro wrestling, the biggest show of pro wrestling, that being WrestleMania, and got the main event and challenge for the undisputed WWE Universal title versus Roman Reigns, who has the most impressive reign as the undisputed WWE Universal Champion in the modern days of pro wrestling. He's almost at 1,000 days as the undisputed WWE Universal Champion. And he won this match in a controversial fashion because Solo Sikoa, who was accompanying Roman Reigns in the beginning of this match, who got kicked out in the midst of this match for interfering, came back disguising himself, came from the crowd, and Samoan spiked Cody Rhodes when Cody Rhodes was trying to hit a third crossroads on Roman Reigns to hopefully secure a win and become the new WWE undisputed Universal Champion. And Solo Sikoa interfered and stopped that while the referee was being distracted by Paul Heyman. And then after Cody Rhodes got hit with the Samoan spike, Roman Reigns hit him with the spear to secure the win and retain the WWE undisputed Universal title. And he continues on his reign as the WWE Undisputed Universal Champion. And that's why I say he's almost at 1,000 days now. And I'm quite sure that's what WWE is pulling for, is for Roman Reigns to break that 1,000-day record and be the longest reigning champion in WWE history. And it's looking that way because I couldn't think of a better stage for Roman Reigns to drop the WWE Undisputed Universal title at than WrestleMania. There is no other event that Roman Reigns can lose the title at and people go wow about. Get what I'm saying? And I don't think there's any worthy wrestler with the momentum and the hot streak behind them that could take that title from Roman Reigns and be of a legit status, legit caliber to say, oh, he's the guy to end that reign of Roman Reigns. And Cody Rhodes has built that for him to be that guy. He's got the fans that's on the side of him to push for him to end the reign of Roman Reigns being the undisputed WWE Universal Champion, and he couldn't do that at this year's WrestleMania, and he hasn't got a shot at the undisputed WWE Universal title yet, and he got drafted over to Raw while Roman Reigns is on SmackDown. Now, I don't know how that's going to play out because I'm going to talk about that when I talk about what took place at this year's 2023 WWE Draft. Anyways, the match was good, though. It had good back and forth action. It was a good pace match with Roman Reigns and Cody Rhodes. And I give this match a rating of a 4 out of a 5. And I'm being nice. I was going to say 3.5 out of a 5. However, it was because of how the match was going when it came to the wrestling part. That's why I'll give this match the rating I'll give it. I don't know. Who y'all think is a legit wrestler that's active in the WWE right now that could take the title from off of Roman Reigns? Who do you have? Bobby Lashley? They haven't pushed him to a level where he is legit. However, they haven't pushed him to a level where he's that guy to take that title off of Roman Reigns yet. They gotta build some momentum around him. Who are they gonna build Solo Sikoa, do a bloodline feud, and it looks like they headed towards that way. Now I don't know if Solo Sikoa is that guy yet because he recently got called up to the main roster of the WWE. Brock Lesnar, he's more on the side of pushing the younger talent now, and he's headed towards the end of his career when it comes to pro wrestling. I mean, who else? Who do y'all got in mind that's a legit wrestler with the right momentum going in his favor to be the next potential undisputed WWE Universal Champion? Anyways, this year's WrestleMania was a real good show. It was definitely better than last year's WrestleMania, and I say better than any recent WrestleManias as of late. And I give this year's WrestleMania a rating of a 8 out of a 10. How do y'all feel about this year's WrestleMania? How would y'all rate it? Let me know in the comments. Next event I'm going to be reviewing is this year's Backlash. It was in Puerto Rico. I like what the WWE is doing, man. They're hitting the road with their events this year. The next event is Night of Champions. That's going to be in Saudi Arabia. And then the next event after that is the Money in the Bank. And that's going to be in London, England. As this year's Backlash was held in San Juan, Puerto Rico. And that's back-to-back events outside of America. And that's a good look on WWE's part because the crowd that's outside of America seems to be way more enthusiastic than the WWE fans in America. Maybe it's because they get to see WWE a lot more in America than they do outside of America. However, the crowd reactions isn't even comparable when it comes to the fans being tapped into the show and partaking and being a part of the show when it comes to y'all know what I'm talking about. It's not even comparable. Anyways, let's get to the reviewing part of 2023's Backlash. The opening contest to 2023 Backlash was for the Raw Women's title. Bianca Belair defending her Raw Women's title versus Io Sky. Io Sky is well received out there in Puerto Rico. They love her in Puerto Rico. And they was booing the heck out of Bianca Belair and cheering the heck out of Io Sky. Every move that Io Sky was hitting, they was giving a positive reaction, while every move Bianca Belair was hitting, they was giving a negative reaction. I don't know, maybe it's because Bianca Belair has been on this incredible run as the Raw Women's Champion, and Io Sky, she's a workhorse, man, and she's got great in-ring abilities, and she definitely got to display that in this match versus Bianca Belair. They had a good pace match, good back and forth action between the two wrestlers, and Bianca Belair ended up getting the win after Damage Control came in to provide help for Io Sky. However, that backfired on Io Sky because Io Sky got distracted, and then that gave time for Bianca Belair to secure the win and retain the Raw Women's title as she continues on her reign as the Raw Women's Champion. And I give this match a rating of a 3 out of a 5. Then the next match, we saw Seth Rollins versus Omos. Now, this was another showcase attraction feature match that was on this year's Backlash's card, and many people are saying this was Omos' best performance. As I mentioned earlier, I brought up this point with Seth Rollins being arguably the best technical wrestler in all of pro wrestling right now. It's hard to have a bad match versus a wrestler like Seth Rollins, and that goes for Omos, who's not the most mobile wrestler when it comes to the in-ring ability. However, getting in there with somebody like Seth Rollins, almost every wrestler that steps in there gets to shine. And Omos had a good chemistry with Seth Rollins, who's a workhorse when it comes to pro wrestling, and they had a good pace, good back and forth action between the two wrestlers, and Seth Rollins ended up getting the win after hitting the curb stomp from the top rope to secure the win. And I give this match a rating of a 3 out of a 5. Then the next match on the card, we saw Rhea Ripley defend her SmackDown Women's title versus Zelina Vega. Zelina Vega, she is Puerto Rican by descent, and she had a very well receptive reaction from the crowd in Puerto Rico, and this was a good match. The fans obviously was very much involved emotionally and reaction-wise when it came to this match because of Zelina Vega. And Rhea Ripley ended up getting the win. This was a good back and forth, good pace match as well. Rhea Ripley got the win after hitting the pump handle slam to secure and retain her SmackDown Women's title. I give this match a rating of a 2.5 out of a 5. Then the next match on the card, we saw Bad Bunny versus Damian Priest for the... It wasn't for any title. It was a San Juan street fight with Bad Bunny and Damian Priest. I was gonna say 4D because I was gonna talk about the 3-way United States title match with Austin Theory, Bobby Lashley, and Bronson Reed. That match, I know I got the match orders uh, mixed up. Doesn't matter though. That's besides the point. It has no relevance to it. Anyways, let's continue on with the review of 2023's Backlash, right? The San Juan Street fight with Damian Priest and Bad Bunny. This was the best match on the card. I give this match a 4.5 out of a 5. It had good action. Bad Bunny, like Logan Paul, I don't know what it is. Logan Paul, he's got that amateur wrestling background and that athleticism. He boxes, and he was a high school athlete that was competing at a top level. Bad Bunny, I don't know about his athletic background. However, he can go in the ring, and he's got that high flying luchador style, and he's very mobile and agile in the ring, and he can definitely go, and he definitely proved that when he wrestled at WrestleMania 37, and he displayed that all alone because this was a singles match with him and Damian Priest. At WrestleMania 37, he teamed with Damian Priest, and he got to he got to share the spotlight with 3 other wrestlers, and this match was a singles match. It did have interference in this match. However, it was full time. It wasn't no tagging in and out like his debut match at WrestleMania 37, and as well as him competing in the Royal Rumble. That doesn't count because it has 29 other wrestlers competing in that same match as well. Anyways, this match, of course, it's a gimmick match, and that calls for more excitement than your average, regular, typical wrestling matches. And we got to see that street fight gimmick element added to this match, and this was a fun match, and there was a good ring psychology factor. That element was in this match as well, with Bad Bunny targeting the leg of Damian Priest, and that element of pro wrestling seems to be a missing link when it comes to putting matches together, where a wrestler tends to target a body part of his opponent. Anyways, when it looked like Bad Bunny had the momentum going in his favor, here come the Judgment Day to provide interference on behalf of Damian Priest. And then to equalize the numbers came Rey Mysterio and then Carlito, who is a legend out there in Puerto Rico. His father, Carlos Colon, Hall of Famer, a wrestling legend, a household name out there in Puerto Rico. Probably the biggest wrestling name in Puerto Rican wrestling history, and with Carlito being his son and him having the resume that he has, because Carlito had a impressive reign in the WWE when he was a active wrestler there, and his crowd reaction when his music hit and when he came to equalize the numbers to help out Bad Bunny versus the Judgment Day, the reception he got was unbelievable. The noise was through the roof. And then the LWO came out as well when not Damian Priest, when Finn Balor and Dominic Mysterio went for the run and went to escape. LWO, along with another Puerto Rican wrestling legend, that being Savio Vega, and the crowd reception to a legend, Savio Vega, was much like the crowd's reaction to Carlito. The reception for him was through the roof as well. And Damian Priest, a funny part to this match was when Damian Priest was trying to walk out on Bad Bunny as if the match versus Bad Bunny wasn't worth it. I thought that was funny, and how the match ended, the results of this match, and that part right there with Damian Priest comedically, mockingly walking out on the match, or attempting to walk out on that match, was very funny because of Bad Bunny ended up getting the win, and his performance in this match had to definitely earn the respect from all of the wrestling fans. I think he earned that respect from his performance at WrestleMania 37 and whenever he made appearances at the Royal Rumbles and past events that he's wrestled in. However, this match though, he definitely got to display his talent in the ring at his full capability, and he hit the Canadian Destroyer to secure the win, and that is a impressive move to pull off right there. And as I said, this was the best match on the card. And then the next match was a three-way match for the United States title. Austin Theory defending his U.S. title versus Bobby Lashley and Bronson Reed. Good back and forth action in this match, and Austin Theory got the win in a typical heel fashion. After Bobby Lashley hit the spear on Bronson Reed, he got Bobby Lashley out of the way to pick up the scraps and secure the win and retain the U.S. title. I give this match a rating of a 2.5 out of a 5. Then the next match on the card was a 6-man tag team match with the Bloodline versus Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens and Matt Riddle. Now this was a good back and forth, good action, good pace match. And when you have these 6 wrestlers who can all compete in the ring very well, you're bound to have a good match. And that's what we saw. And there was storytelling elements in this match as well. The tension that's brewing within the Bloodline right now was at full display in this match. The disagreement that we saw between Jey Uso and Solo Sikoa, when Jey Uso looked like he was about to hit a move in the corner, Solo Sikoa forcefully tagged himself in to take the spotlight for himself, and then Jey Uso wasn't having it. He didn't appreciate that, and he tagged himself in the same way how Solo Sikoa tagged himself in, and then they was barking on each other, and Solo Sikoa towards the end of the match, it looked like he was going to Samoan spike Jey Uso when he was on a hot streak, taking out his opponents, when Jey Uso swooped in there, and Solo Sikoa looked at that chest that Jey Uso slapped to tag himself back in the match. And when Matt Riddle, when he was on the hot streak and it looked like he had the match won for his team, and Solo Sikoa swooped in there, who was actually the legal man and not Jey Uso, who he was gonna try and pin to secure the win. And Solo Sikoa got in there, hit Matt Riddle with the Samoan spike, and pinned him to secure the win for the Bloodline. And this match, I give a rating of a 3.5 out of a 5. As I said, all these wrestlers that was competing in this match are workhorses, and they can all go, and they definitely display their talent in this match as they should. And then the main event to 2023's Backlash was the match with Brock Lesnar and Cody Rhodes. As y'all know, this rivalry started on the Raw after Mania when Brock Lesnar was supposed to team with Cody Rhodes versus Roman Reigns and Solo Sikoa. Then out of nowhere, Brock Lesnar, who friended up Cody Rhodes, attacked Cody Rhodes brutally. And then that's how this rivalry started. And before the match began, Cody Rhodes decided to attack Brock Lesnar, hit him with the steel steps, and do all that he can. And then the match began, and Brock Lesnar gained back his momentum. And Brock Lesnar bladed in this match after he had a spot where he got hit head first onto the exposed turnbuckle, and then Cody Rhodes targeted it, and Cody Rhodes was at full throttle, was relentless with his attacks towards Brock Lesnar. However, Brock Lesnar, being the character that he is, he would neutralize Cody Rhodes' aggressiveness with his capability as being Brock Lesnar. And how Cody Rhodes got this win versus Brock Lesnar, I thought was very clever on WWE's part, because Brock Lesnar, who had Cody Rhodes in the Kimura, Cody Rhodes looked like he couldn't get out of that hold, got that roll up secure win, with Brock Lesnar's shoulders being down on the mat for the 3 count, for it to look like a fluke of a win. And that's why on the next episode of Raw, after 2023 Backlash, Brock Lesnar came back looking displeased and angry because of how the match went at 2023's Backlash. And I give this match a rating of a 3 out of a 5. And the whole show for 2023's Backlash, I'll give it a rating of a 7 out of a 10. Y'all let me know what y'all opinions are from what y'all saw at this year's Backlash. And then now, let me talk about the 2023 WWE Draft. Now, I thought this was going to be a good look on the WWE, because brand split hasn't been a factor in the WWE ever since last year. There's the undisputed Universal title that's held by Roman Reigns as of right now, and has been ever since last year's WrestleMania. And then they also unified the tag team titles and made it undisputed. Now, there's no brand split when it comes to those 2 titles there. And then the mid-card titles was the only titles that seemed to have brand split be a factor to those titles being the Intercontinental title and the US title, and then as well as the women's titles, because it literally has a brand names on it, the Raw women's title and the SmackDown women's title. And then because they announced a draft for this year in the WWE, that's why the WWE went on and announced that they will be adding a new world title to the WWE. And I thought it was because of this year's draft. However, I'm gonna talk about this. This correlates to me talking about the world title as well, the new world heavyweight title that the WWE announced that will come into play this year. It was originally announced that it would be for the Monday Night Raw brand, because during this year's draft, Roman Reigns got drafted to SmackDown. That means he would be the world champion there and continue his reign as the WWE Undisputed Universal Champion over there on SmackDown. That's why Raw, who doesn't have a world champion, would need a world champion. That's why they implemented the new world heavyweight title. And I don't know how this has any difference added to the WWE for this year. I'm talking about the draft, because y'all look at what happened after 2023 WWE's draft. Y'all see that a SmackDown wrestler is gonna compete for the World Heavyweight title at this year's Night of Champions, when there's already a world champion in Roman Reigns over there on SmackDown. It doesn't make any sense. I thought it would be a Raw exclusive world title. I thought the whole purpose of a draft is to have a split between the brands. I don't know what's going on. They didn't implement a tag team title for SmackDown, because the undisputed tag team champions Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens has been drafted to Raw. SmackDown doesn't have a tag team champions, And now, if AJ Styles, who wrestles over there on SmackDown, happens to win at Night of Champion and possibly become the new World Heavyweight Champion, wouldn't that mean SmackDown will have 2 world champions? It doesn't make any sense. And Raw is only left with the tag team champions and the Intercontinental Champion. Doesn't make any sense. Did they bring the World Heavyweight title into play? Not because of this year's draft, yet because Roman Reigns is more of a part-time wrestler and doesn't defend the undisputed universal title at every event, then what was the point of having a draft this year? Doesn't make any sense. And Rhea Ripley, who's the SmackDown Women's Champion, she got drafted over to Raw, while Bianca Belair, who's the Raw Women's Champion, got drafted over to SmackDown. Y'all remember when Becky Lynch and Charlotte Flair was the Raw and SmackDown Women's Champion, and they had to swap belts because both of them got drafted to different brands? They didn't do any of that. So you have the Raw Women's Champion defending a Raw Women's Championship over there on SmackDown, and vice versa with Rhea Ripley over there on Raw. I don't know. WWE's got to clear things up with what happened at the 2023 draft. Anyways, that is my review of what took place at this year's draft with the WWE. And there's also free agents that went undrafted at this year's draft. Brock Lesnar, he could bounce around from either Raw or SmackDown. And there's other undrafted wrestlers like Mustafa Ali, Omos, and Bronson Reed, and other wrestlers that I haven't named yet. However, majority of wrestlers that are popular amongst the WWE fans, they all got their respective brands that they got drafted to. And NXT call-ups, I was surprised that Braun Breaker didn't get a call-up to the main roster. We saw, what's his name? Grayson Waller, Cameron Grimes, Apollo Crews, and J.D. McDowell, and Pretty Deadly, and who else? Indy Hartwell, and Toxic Attraction, and Zoe Starks, and I know I'm missing a few names that got called up from NXT to the main roster. Anyways, y'all let me know what y'all opinions are from the results of the 2023 WWE Draft. Anyways, that does it for this episode of Talk Wrestling. Comment y'all opinions if y'all stayed through this whole video. Subscribe, share, like, all that good stuff. And I'm out of here, y'all. Peace.